The national recognition of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday did not come easily. Congressman John Conyers, together with Senator Ed Brooke, a Republican from Massachusetts, for whom I voted, proposed the holiday as a bill in 1979. It failed to make it through the House by 5 votes. The next year, Stevie Wonder recorded the hit single, Happy Birthday, and then hosted the Rally for Peace in 1981. 6 million signatures were collected for a petition to pass the Martin Luther King holiday, the largest petition in favor of an issue in U.S. history. It was in the Rose Garden, 1983, that Ronald Reagan, whom I did not vote for, signed the bill into law. The holiday was observed for the first time on January 20th, 1986. Thank you, Stevie Wonder. You know, if there is one national holiday during the calendar year that makes me conscious of time, it would be this weekend celebrating Martin Luther King's birthday. And I'm using time here as a means by which to measure our march towards a more just society. Where are we today in relation to where we were then? Dr. King was assassinated almost 44 years ago. How do we account for these past 4+ decades where society still finds black income, black housing, black education lagging far behind the white population, and a judicial system that continues to place a huge, disproportionate number of black men into prisons? It's always on King's birthday when I ask, how far have we come? The truth of our shortcomings hit my face like an icy wind. And I ask myself another question. How much time do we have? We operate under the illusion that time alone will solve racial problems. In time, stereotypes will be shattered, and a greater understanding will unfold, and justice will somehow reach and touch everyone. Dr. King himself reflected upon time, saying it was neither good nor bad. Time was neutral. He said, what matters is how time is used. Time has been used badly in this country. Our reading this morning, written by a 23-year-old African-American male from New York City, wherein he addressed the continuous humiliation suffered by blacks at the hand of an overtly racist police department, does not differ much from a book that I'm sure most of you might still have on your shelves, the book Native Son, written by Richard Wright, 1940. The main character, Bigger Thomas, is being interrogated by white policemen who want him to confess raping a white girl. Come on now, boy. We've treated you pretty nice, but we can get tough if we have to, see? It's up to you. Get over there by the bed and show us how you raped and murdered that girl. I didn't rape her, Bigger said through stiff lips. Oh, come on. What you got to lose now? Show us what you did. I don't want to. You have to. I don't have to. Well, then, we'll make you. You can make me do nothing but die. Black writers in every decade I looked back to Bigger Thomas, a marker of sorts, a symbol of racism woven into the fabric of American society that never really seems to change. The theme remains a constant, that the only freedom a black man has is the willingness to die to preserve his dignity. That's pretty rough stuff. I know we want to shrug our shoulders and not believe that. We prefer instead to look at Richard Wright as depicting Chicago of the 1930s. But our reading this morning depicting New York in 2011 gives testimony to Dr. King's reference to the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Gradualism, long the clarion call of white liberals, stands in stark contrast with those who hold unfashionable views about justice. An unfashionable view challenges the prevailing opinion that in time, education will erase prejudice. If we carefully examine to what gradualism aspires, we'll discover not a hope or even a faith expressed by white liberals. If you think about it from a black perspective, it really reflects a whole lot of arrogance. It's an arrogance that assumes that the structure that enslaves, literally and figuratively, the structure that enslaves is the same structure that will also decide when and how that slavery will be abolished. In other words, it's still the white power structure that pretends to offer a prescription for that which ails people of color. Now, it's tough for white liberals to understand that the structures of oppression won't be changed by white intellectuals or by white moral sensibilities, no matter how much time they think they have. Change will occur only when the white structures dare to listen to people of color. Not as easy as one might think. Now, lest we believe that racism is an ugly scene from America's past, where the back of the bus and maintaining separate facilities were enforced by law, today we face an attempt by some members of Congress to repeal the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Unless we think that mythologies about who black people are, with distinct inferences to their inherent inferiority, that this is something from very long ago. Today, we face Republican presidential candidates proclaiming that black people were better off under slavery than they are today. Now, let me offer a very simple example of unintended racism, but which shows that racism just exists in the unfolding of every day. I almost decided not to share this because it is so simplistic, but I know you're going to be able to understand and extrapolate why I'm using this particular example. The Reverend Pablo Ramos, the Episcopal priest at our sister church across town, San Esteban, has been sent by his Episcopal diocese to Moab a couple of days a week to work with the Hispanic congregation there. The setup is almost identical to his church in West Valley City, where they share the space with an Anglo church. Now, in Moab, the Anglos meet on Sundays and the Hispanics on Tuesday. Speaking with the white priest in Moab about hospitality, perhaps joint services, better relations, the Anglo, who is terribly friendly and open and kind, said, you are welcome to worship with us on any Sunday. And Pablo said, well, why don't you come worship with us on Tuesdays? And that was the end of the conversation. Now, the Anglos' offer was undoubtedly well-intentioned, but somehow the blindness of how the societal structures work preclude a change in, well, how everyday business is done. 1963, James Baldwin wrote in The Fire Next Time, "The brutality with which Negroes are treated in this country simply cannot be overstated, however unwilling white men may be to hear it."